Chapter 5: How to Create Mind Pictures. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig. An ancient saying. Before you can really reach and control and direct that something, you need to know just how your mind functions. This creative power is the most important part of your mind, but it is elusive and intangible and difficult to contact consciously until you have gained an understanding of your inner consciousness. Did you know, for instance, that you actually do not think in words? You think in pictures. And because you think in pictures and not in words, your mind, in its mechanical functioning, operates no differently from that of primitive man who lived thousands of years ago. He too thought in pictures before language was evolved. When he was gone from his cave home on the hunt and returned to his tribe, the only way he could convey to them what had happened to him was to draw crude pictures in charcoal or chisel them on the stone walls of his cave. Gradually, as primitive man drew pictures of similar experiences over and over again, and associated sounds with certain objects and happenings, he had only to start a familiar picture and onlookers knew instantly what he meant. These early pictures eventually reduced themselves to symbols. The symbols grouped together became letters, then words, and finally sentences, and first language was born. But with all our vaunted civilization of today, with all the languages that we have evolved, with the enormous vocabulary of words that modern man possesses to describe his feelings and ideas and the world about him, he still thinks basically in mental pictures. I can easily prove this to you. Take your time and think of some little unusual experience that you have had today. As you recall it to mind, you see in your mind's eye pictures of your doing something, being somewhere, meeting someone, whatever the incident may have been. But you are powerless to convey to me what happened to you until you grope for words, the symbols of this happening, so you can tell me about it. I, in turn, as I listen to your words, have to translate these words into pictures in my own mind's eye, in order to see and comprehend what you experienced. So it is clearly evident that you think basically, as I have said, in pictures. This is one of the most important facts you can ever learn about your mind. And the next important fact is this: what you picture in your mind, if it unites with the creative power within, can attract to you whatever you fear or desire. The creative power is like a magnet. This is true because this creative power operates like a magnet. Give it a strong, clear picture of what you want, and this creative power starts to work, magnetizing conditions about you, attracting to you the things, resources, opportunities, circumstances, and even the people you need to help bring to pass in your outer life what you have pictured. You don't believe it? Think back over your life. Recall the times you lived in fear something would happen, and eventually it came to pass. You perhaps didn't realize it, but those fear pictures had so impressed that something within that you caused it to attract wrong conditions to you and made you susceptible to the very thing that you feared. You see, this creative power within doesn't reason. It just produces for you what you order in the form of a mental picture with strong feelings of fear or desire behind it. That's why that inner power is TNT, either for or against you, depending on whether your thinking is constructive or destructive. Now you can understand how certain good as well as bad things have happened throughout your life. That something has been serving you, and the kind of results you have obtained have depended on the kind of mental pictures you have presented to it. How does your life add up on this basis? Has it been filled thus far with about as many unhappy experiences as happy ones? If so, you'll want to change that in a hurry. And you can change it at once by a fundamental change in your mental attitude, by overcoming your fears and worries and replacing them with positive, confident, courageous thinking. There is no longer any doubt about it, and there never has been to those who have understood the operation of consciousness, that as you picture in your mind and heart, so are you. Keep this great fact always before you. Let it dominate your everyday thinking. Check yourself each time you tend to become disturbed mentally and emotionally and to store unhappy, destructive mental pictures in your mind. Do you want to pass on such pictures for your creative power to work upon? Do you wish these fears or desires to be magnetized so that they attract similar experiences to you? If not, let go of this kind of picture at once. Change it for the better. Drop all feelings of fear or resentment or hate or jealousy, whatever these feelings may be, and substitute the right kind of feelings and mental attitudes. The moment you do so, you destroy the power these wrong pictures would eventually have over you. Beware of the wrong use of TNT. TNT is wonderful when you use it right, but it can mow you down if you set up the wrong charge in yourself. Once you have cleared your mind of wrong mental pictures and emotional reactions, you are ready to picture, with faith and confidence, the achievement of good things. Faith is the energizer of the creative power, that something within. I'll have more to say about that later, but you must believe that what you picture can come to pass. Doubt will destroy your picture and demagnetize the creative power so that you will get a half result or no result at all, or even a wrong result. Picture whatever you desire as though it has already been achieved in mind. See yourself having something, being something, or doing something as an accomplished fact. Don't try to picture the individual steps that you think that you should take to get where you want to go. Your conscious mind is so limited in its operation, limited by your 5 physical senses, that it cannot know what is the best move for you to make or the best direction to take. But your subconscious mind, that something within, is not limited by time or space. It can function on all levels and in all directions at once, and put you in touch with all manner of opportunities and people that you do not even know of consciously as yet. Whatever you need to fit into the pattern of achievement that you have pictured will be attracted to you by the power within if you persist in visualizing day after day and put forth every effort in support of your heartfelt desire. This is the simple technique to follow. It will produce infallible results in due course of time if you master the art of picturization. But I should make clear that there are 2 types of minds, the visualizing type and the feeling type. If you find it difficult to create a picture in your mind's eye of what you want in life, don't strain in an attempt to do it. You are probably the feeling type, and all you then have to do is to concentrate on an imaginary focal point in the dark room of your inner mind and let yourself feel that what you desire has been accomplished in consciousness, that all that remains is for it to be materialized by the magnetic creative power in your outer world. You will get the same results as those who find it easy to visualize. You must know how to relax. Of course, it should go without saying that before you can concentrate upon what you desire, you have to know how to relax your physical body and make your conscious mind passive. Can you relax? Can you let go of your body with your mind so that it loses all tenseness so that you can become unself-conscious of your body while you are meditating or visualizing? Many men and women have told me that they have great difficulty becoming still in body and in mind. They feel a tightness in the back of the neck, across the eyes, in the solar plexus, in one or all of these places. They say they hadn't realized how tense and nervous they really are until they had tried to become quiet, physically and mentally. Some tell me that their conscious mind is filled with all sorts of fragmentary fears and worries and jumbled thoughts that they just can't make it a blank and get ready to picture what they really want. Well, I don't wonder. So many of us live such hectic everyday lives. We've formed such bad habits in our thinking, and few of us have attained any dependable emotional control. All sorts of little things upset us, and we carry these upsets around with us all day. They are still with us at night when we try to relax and do some constructive thinking for a change. The result is that when we do quiet down, we are even more conscious of the disturbances of the day which dramatize themselves in the forefront of our minds. How can we get rid of them? That's the $64,000 question. It's worth a lot more than that to you if you can get the answer. You've got to get the answer if you are ever to picture clearly and confidently your objectives in mind. Have you ever heard that it is impossible to have any more than one thought in your conscious mind at one time? It's true. At any given moment, you can be conscious of but one thought. The secret of concentration, then, is fixing the attention of the conscious mind upon an imagined focal point in consciousness, such as a mental screen. Visualize that screen as stretched across the dark room of your inner mind, and as long as you hold your attention on it, other stray thoughts and fears and worries can't chase across that screen. Project your own picture. Take your time, quietly, relaxedly, and throw your own mental picture on that screen. Don't try to hold it too long. The instant you feel that the creative power within has received this picture, say to yourself, "It's finished. It has been created." Whatever you feel like saying which adds conviction to your visualization or your feelings, and then let go. If you took a picture with a camera, you wouldn't keep opening up the camera and looking at the negative to see if the picture was developed, would you? Have faith that the creative power, that something within, will do the developing for you. Go about your life activities with the happy expectation that what you have pictured is in the process of materialization. But repeat the picturization every day, several times a day, and at night before retiring until what you have pictured or felt yourself having achieved in mind has become a fact in real life. Now, the question is, how do you go to work to help make what you have pictured come true? You can't just sit around expecting this creative power to do the whole job for you. The best way to prove to the creative power within that you mean business is to go to work on your own and do everything you can toward reaching your objective. Sometimes you won't reach the objective you think you're aiming at, but will accomplish something even better. Bill McDaniel was one of New York City's finest insurance salesmen. He believed in the higher powers of mind and attributed his success to his developed use of them. He operated in the absolute faith that when he pictured a sale of a policy or an annuity as accomplished in mind, it was all but wrapped up. However, he didn't indulge in any wishful thinking or Pollyannish affirmations. He did plenty of legwork, made the personal contacts, and set the stage for the consummation of each deal. There were times when his intuition told him he shouldn't press, and that he should sit tight and wait till he had the hunch to move in for the kill. One of these times was when he had been trying to sell a Wall Street broker a $50,000 annuity. This man had been a hard nut to crack. He had one idiosyncrasy well known to his business associates. He was a crank on punctuality. When he made an appointment with a man, if this man was so much as 5 minutes late, he wouldn't see him. He had a great sense of his own importance and the value of time. Because he was out of the city a great deal, it was even difficult to make a date with him. This particular morning, Bill McDaniel was lucky. He had given his man a ring, and the prospect said he would see him at 11 a.m. sharp. Bill took the subway, allowing himself plenty of leeway to get to his appointment on time. At Times Square, he had to change trains for Wall Street, and as he was hurrying through the crowd, he passed a little old foreign lady who was clutching an old-fashioned handbag and sobbing from fright and bewilderment. No one was paying any attention to her. She was just one of many minor tragedies that occur practically unnoticed any day in a big city like New York. But the mental image of this old woman stuck in Bill's mind as he ran down the subway steps towards his train which was pulling in. He glanced at his wristwatch. It was 20 minutes to 11. There would be another train along in a few minutes. He could still make it. Bill turned about, ran back up the steps, and approached the little old woman. "Hello, Mother," he greeted her. "What's the matter? You lost?" She looked up at him hopefully. "Yeah," she said. "What's your name, Mother? Where do you live?" asked Bill. She shook her head. "I don't know." "Do you have any relatives? A son or a daughter?" "I don't know," she said piteously. The poor woman was so upset and dazed she couldn't think. "Mother," said Bill, "do you mind if I take a look in your pocketbook?" He took hold of it and she handed it to him. Bill opened the tattered handbag and rummaged among its assortment of odds and ends. He came across a piece of paper with an address scribbled on it. There was a woman's name and a street number in Brooklyn. Bill read this to the little old woman and asked, "Is this your daughter?" Yeah, said the woman, her face lighting up. "My daughter." "Is that where you're going?" asked Bill. Yeah. Bill took her by the arm. "Come with me, Mother. Don't worry. Everything's going to be all right. I'll put you on the right train." He led her down the stairs. A train to Brooklyn was just about to pull out. Bill waved, and the guard stopped the nearest car. "Hold it," he cried. "This woman's lost. I've her address here. She's trying to get to her daughter in Brooklyn. Will you see that she gets off at the right stop and have the station master put her in a cab or phone her daughter so that she can come and get her?" "Sure will, mister," said the guard, taking the slip of paper with the address. "Step in, Mother. We'll take care of you." Bill saw the little old woman safely on the train. She turned as the door was closing on her and said in a broken voice, filled with gratitude, "God bless you." How opportunity sometimes knocks. Then Bill glanced again at his wristwatch. 7 minutes to 11. He had missed his appointment. No use going on down to Wall Street. His prospect wouldn't see him. If it had been almost anyone else but Bill, he would have said, "That's what I get for being a good Samaritan. Lost a chance to sell a $50,000 annuity." He confessed to having felt a stab of bitter disappointment. He had planned on making this contact for weeks, and it was hard to understand why he had been waylaid. No doubt someone else would have come to this old lady's rescue, someone who hadn't been so pressed for time. But for some reason he couldn't figure out, he just hadn't been able to continue on his way without doing what he could for her. Perhaps it was because the thought had occurred to him, "That's someone's mother. If it were my mother, wouldn't I appreciate any help that might be extended to her?" Oh well, it was all over now, and he was glad he had done what he did. He would always have been haunted by that appealing look she had cast him as he passed, that desperate, poignant reaching out for human aid, if he had gone on about his business. Still, you didn't line up good prospects like this man every day. As he was about to board a subway train for his uptown office, it suddenly occurred to Bill that he was in the vicinity of Fifth Avenue and 42nd Street, the business address of another prospect with whom he had left the figures on $100,000 annuity 6 weeks before. This man had been in Europe, and Bill had read in the papers that he had recently returned. Wouldn't hurt, since he was so near, to drop in on the chance of saying hello. The prospect's reception room was jammed with people waiting to see him, and Bill turned away. He didn't have an appointment, and it wouldn't do him any good to wait with a lineup like that ahead of him. But as he stepped towards the elevator, he noticed that the man's private office door was open into the corridor. It was a hot August day, and he apparently needed cross-ventilation. Acting on impulse, Bill walked down the hall and looked in. To his amazement, the man was seated in his office alone, studying some papers on his desk. He looked up, and both men saw each other at the same moment. "Bill McDaniel!" exclaimed the man. "Come on in. This is a coincidence. I was just going to phone you. I've been studying your annuity proposition. I was in a car accident last night, and I decided I'd like to have some more coverage." "But you've got an office full of people," said Bill. "Let them wait," said the man. "This is more important." 40 minutes later, Bill McDaniel walked out with a $100,000 annuity sale under his belt. Had it not been for this little old lady, well, you get the point. "That taught me one of the biggest lessons of my life," Bill said to me as he related this experience. "Cast your bread upon the waters, and it comes back cake." There is a lesson in this for you. Visualize, as best you can, what you desire. Do your darndest to help bring what you are picturing to pass through your own efforts. When things seemingly go bad, have faith that they will lead to something just as good or better, and they often will. Thought, contacting that something, brings everything, with nature's exceptions, into manifestation. A single thought not followed up, a flash dismissed or lost, may be compared to a bobbing cork, aimless and without purpose. However, the same thought, the picture of the thing that you want, kept constant, will attract its object just as a magnet attracts. The larger and more powerful the magnet, the greater its drawing force, and so it is with sustained thought. The more powerful it becomes, the more it attracts. Just as a huge magnifying glass drawing the sun's rays and kept focused on a certain spot will burn a hole, so will powerful, sustained thought, the vivid mental picture, directed to or on its object, correlate. However, you must mentally see the picture of your object or ideal as a reality. See every detail of the picture as being in existence, just as you would want the object or ideal actually to be. Then, as if by magic, the chain will link itself together. Now, go back and re-listen to this again until it is permanently impressed upon you.